All right. Well, we are here today with a special guest, so we're going to have a little conversation about a movie that he is making. I am Mary Bowen, the director at Industrious Family Films. This is my sister, Faustina Bowen. She is the production director at Industrious Family Films.
And today we're really happy to have with us Austin Kelly, the director of Knights of the Cross. Um, we're going to be talking to him about this project, but before we do, we'd like to thank our YouTube sponsor. This video is brought to you by a fan who would like to spread her devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary through the brown scapular and one of our favorites, the Rosary. So if there is a link in the description for just talking about that devotion for you. If you have a business or even if you don't, you can support us by sponsoring this channel, and there's also a link to that page where you can find the information to sponsor any of our different sponsorship opportunities also in the description.
Yeah, it was really exciting when a fan was like, I'd like to spread the devotion to the Rosary and the scapular. It was like, oh, we actually have a perfect opportunity because it's so timely, actually, that this so happens to be this video. Because the Rosary is our chief weapon against the powers of evil. And when Our Lady appeared to Saint Simon Stock, she told him that the world would be saved through the scapular and the Rosary. And we're going to be talking today about war and crusades and battles. And it's important to remember that Our Lady has aided numerous times those who've implored her for help. She is Our Lady of Victory and our Queen of Battles. So we will turn back now to our friend Austin Kelly. Can you have a movie coming out? And I was wondering if you would share a little bit about the story, the project, Knights of the Cross, and something I'm particularly excited about is you're having a red carpet premiere. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Faustina, for having me on the show. I'm super excited, and thanks to our sponsor, your sponsor. What a wonderful request, the brown scapular and the rosary. Yeah, so for the past 5 years, the Christian Channel has been working on a project called Knights of the Cross. I'm the CEO of the Christian Channel and founded the Christian Channel, and I started the company because there wasn't really anything on cable television that promoted the Catholic faith. This was 5 years ago. This is before Formed had really come out. And I was just a working professional working in marketing, and I was kind of exhausted. So what I ended up noticing on TV was there was a lot of bad shows out there about witches, about Lucifer. And I just got fed up, working in marketing, working with celebrities. I'm like, why isn't there a Christian channel where I could just binge the Saints and binge the Crusades? And looking into it, I realized, wow, there's really not enough movies out there that really talk about the Catholic traditions and the Catholic faith. So I naively decided I'm gonna do a whole Crusader project. And I thought it was just going to cost maybe less than $100,000. And I was completely wrong. Because, what makes this project so special is I couldn't do it alone. Working with celebrities, I knew I needed to work with someone who had an audience that was just as passionate as I was about the Catholic faith. And so I was very fortunate enough to get in contact with J. Stephen Roberts, who owns the YouTube channel Real Crusades History. It's the largest Crusader YouTube channel on YouTube till today. It's still probably top five. But without his fans pitching an idea, the idea was, can we make a TV miniseries about the Crusades, very similar to Game of Thrones, and really promoting our Catholic faith? So, in our Catholic traditions. When we first started, the truth is I wanted to do a lower budget production, and Jay just didn't have it. He was like, no, we're gonna go in on the Third Crusade. We're gonna do the battle between Richard the Lionheart and Saladin. And I didn't know what I was in for. I thought the original plan was we were gonna go to Spain. This is before the pandemic, by the way. We were gonna go to Spain. We were gonna rent a castle, which, by the way, very affordable to do. And we were going to film a TV show out in Spain. Well, God had other plans. We had the pandemic, and we actually had to pivot and bring our whole production here in the United States. So, by the grace of God, we found a great production company to do our production at a green screen studio, and then where I picked up the reins on episode two, our last cinematic series, we were very lucky and very blessed to got approval the film on the coast of California. And if you know anything about filming in California, it's very expensive. So I was very shocked that we were able to film in Malibu, California. We were able to film on the coast of Dana Point, South Orange County. This is a long-winded answer to tell you that this show is really a show that took 5 years to make. And we're just right now, you're our first podcast to promote the red carpet premiere because we want to invite other Catholics that want to celebrate Catholic films. And what better way to celebrate a Catholic film than going to a red carpet premiere, meeting the cast and crew, having candy, and meeting like-minded people that just want to support the Crusades and want to support our traditions. You know, one thing that I will say, these costumes were very hard to find and very expensive. And I maybe shouldn't be saying it on camera, but the weapons were real. And some of them were real because when we were filming, we actually had plastic weapons and it just looked like plastic when we were filming with our big budget cameras. And so I sneaked in a few real Crusader gear, and it looks so good. And you could see that in episode one, and especially in episode two, where we were just swinging it around. Our stunt guys were like, "Oh no, Mr. Kelly, I'm gonna be 5 feet away, but he's gonna slam his, sword really hard." I was like, I'm having a panic attack most of the time on set, but it was really such a joy to be at this phase of our project where we are ready to showcase this to the world, and we are just so excited to invite like-minded Christians and Catholics to watch the show and just enjoy it. And yeah, you could find the tickets. It's at knightsofthecross.com. They're on sale right now for just under $200. And that includes walking the red carpet, taking your photo, meeting cast and crew, and also if you're 21 and up, you could hang out with us at the VIP section up at the it's really cool, private mezzanine, have a cocktail and hang out with the cast and crew for, an hour and a half and just, talk about the film. So it's an event. It's a feast. It's a celebration, 5 years in the making, and I'm super excited to show that to the world.
I
Yes.
think I know where I'll be in May.
I was gonna say Mary was definitely talking about
Yes.
seeing if that was a possibility. But two things that really interest us at the studio that I'm sure interest you as well are good stories and Catholic heroes. And I feel like they are just meeting up in this film and being shown, side by side in Knights of the Cross. So can you tell us why you are particularly so excited about this particular topic? Why Richard the Lionheart? Why the Third Crusade?
Well, it was Joe's idea. And so Joe is the creative director. He's the big YouTube star, and I wanted to make his vision happen. And, a lot of people don't know his little boy is named Richard. So he really does love Richard Lionheart. And honestly, I never thought we couldn't pull it off, but I'm so happy we did pursue this story about Richard Lionheart because I had no idea that there was this one pivotal saint that was involved in the same time period as Richard during the Third Crusade. And that saint is Saint Simon Stock. Now, Saint Simon Stock is the founder of the Carmelite order, and the Virgin Mary appeared to him, by giving him the brown scapular. Actually, I have one on me right now, and that's the brown scapular, and it's supposed to protect you from the fires of hell and purgatory and all that fun stuff. But I didn't think that we were gonna pull it off. But when we filmed episode one, which you could watch for free on YouTube, I think it has 50,000 views, 53,000 views. We did film a purgatory scene, and it was a complete accident that we filmed it. It was a direction that our first director, Aaron Alessandro, wanted to do. And I didn't know anything about, Saint Simon Stock in this time period. Remember, it took 5 years to make. So as a producer, we get these scripts in and we review the scripts and can we pull it off? because Joe's vision is, oh, I want to have a battle in the ocean. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. And as a producer, you turn out to be a reducer. You,
Right.
you just get the script. You just nope, nope, we can't do that. Can't do that. And it's a sucky part of the job, but it's trying to bring the story to life with what budget we had. So it was a complete accident because we were reading about the time period and we discovered about St. Simon Stock with the apparition of Our Lady of Mount Carmel and the story of Mount Carmel. So in the episode 2 that I directed, we were very blessed to film at a real. So the first episode was filmed in a green screen studio, and we had a very talented artist, a green screen VFX artist, super talented. He pulled it off. If you go ahead and watch it now, it's a very beautiful episode. But the advice that I received for episode 2 was, hey, Austin, I know your budget's really tiny, but you got to do it in real life. And so we were able to develop a story. We found out about St. Simon Stock, and it was such a beautiful story. How can we tie in the end of the Crusades and the end of the episode with this saint? And how do we promote this saint? And what I want the audience to take away from the final episode, the conclusion of the episode, I'm sure Mary and Faustina, I sent you the scripts. It is a beautiful, beautiful uh, imagery. I haven't seen it yet on camera of Saint Simon Stock receiving the brown scapular. And I think the woman who played Mary was actually a fan. She had crowdfunded. She had given us $1,000, and I knew her husband very well. And I said to her husband, I said, "Hey, do you mind coming to Burbank, California, to filming the scene?" And her name is Mary. So she's a very beautiful lady named Mary, and she had her son with her, who was around a year and a half years old, and the son was sitting with his mother, uh, you know, sharing, literally going over the whole lines of what Our Lady said to Saint Simon Stock. So, um, coincidence, God incidents, it was a miracle that we pulled everything off the way we did, and it's really an exciting show. It's very Faustina, you had mentioned that Catholic heroes. I think Richard the Lionheart doesn't get enough credit. And if you look at the history of Hollywood for the past 100 years, they've always portrayed him as a very old man. If you
Hmm.
watch Robin Hood, Richard has gray hair. He's 55 years old. And that wasn't the truth. I mean, the truth was he was a fighter, he was a devout Catholic. He was the King of England. I think English people tend to forget that before that it was a very Catholic country and we had own land in France. So he was a very devout character. And that's something that I'm really happy that we have John Wilson, who's a very talented actor, really brought the character to life. And I'm so happy that he joined us on this crusade to make a great film. And I'm really happy with the actors that played Saint Simon Stock. And I can't wait to share that. Even if we could share that scene with the world after it's done during the summer, it's a very beautiful scene. And I hope it brings a lot of people back to the faith.
Yes, I was excited when I had read when you sent the script, I was excited to
Hmm.
see that in there. I'm like, oh wow, this is really,
Yeah.
it's something that happened in Jerusalem, but yeah, I didn't really realize that the timing was so similar to what was going
Hmm.
on with the crusade and things. So
I feel like if you can subtly show a saint, I think that's kind of a mistake sometimes saint movies make where it's really like, this person's a saint, look at him. I think that the subtly is really good,
yes.
the way that it was scripted.
Hmm. And I had a question, but following on what you were ending with, I think I'll rearrange a little bit. You're bringing up the uh the public portrayal of Richard the Lionheart, and this just kind of reminds me that in modern times we are kind of under the impression that the Crusades are bad. Some Catholic heroes like Hernan Cortez and Richard the Lionheart
Queen
were,
Isabella.
yeah, Queen Isabella, to name a few, are just kind of portrayed in a bad light as far as modern history telling goes. But really, I think their crime is that they were violent, maybe. But it kind of reminds me that the Catholic faith is actually a faith of warriors. We produce fighters, And I was kind of wondering if you would touch a little bit on that. I know you brought up Richard the Lionheart, but would you just kind of share a little bit about why you think that, despite being told these things, why their heroism and their bravery still connects us to them and still makes us so inspired by their deeds and their actions?
I think with Richard, he sacrificed a lot. In the story of Richard Lionheart, he had sold everything he had to defend the Holy Land. Like I said, he was extremely devout. And if you watch episode one, we did present the Eucharist pretty well. I mean, that's what really gave him the strength to fight on was the Eucharist. And as long as I don't know if the audience could pick up on that because in the very first episode, Richard it's a true story, lands at the Holy Land, kicks a lot of butt, but then he gets really ill. And that's when we had a lot of creative freedom and say, well, maybe he's hallucinating and he goes to purgatory and he has a conversation with his father and he's in a state of doubt. And I think a lot of us with heroes, saintly heroes, especially warriors, you take a lot of risk and you take a lot of sacrifice and we have to pick up that cross. So Knights of the Cross is yes, I am a knight. I'm a servant of God. I'm going to do what I can, but it's very hard. And we have to like reflect back at the Eucharist because it's it's our source and our faith. Sorry, I get a little emotional, but because this project it was very hard to do. It's I'm very blessed. Like I've got to meet so many talented people in Hollywood. Maybe I'll name drop them later, but like one of I got to sit down with the producer who produced Blade Runner, old school guy, and produced Godfather 1 and 2 and 3. Really talented guy. And the advice he gave me, he said, Austin, I love your ideas. And man, his name's Augustine, this producer. So he's a good Catholic guy, and he's like almost 100 years old. He's like 89 years old. But he said, Austin, why don't you just make a modern day saint movie? And that just wasn't in the path for me. I really believe that at this time that we're in history, in cinematic history, we need to present the saints well, and we need to present the heroes well because a lot of us forget about our history. And I might never have said this to any podcast, but the reason why I started this company was because this is a time in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles where they're tearing down statues of Saint Junipero Serra. They're burning up churches of the mission. And I didn't like that. And I said, well, we need to catechize the world somehow. I have no money. I have no, other than a few relatives that work in Hollywood and my past with working with celebrities. I don't think I could pick up that cross, but we're here and we're doing it. And I'm just so thrilled to share a great story about a fighter, about a Christian hero and on top of that, show his a Marian devotion and the history of the brown scapular. I'm not saying all Catholics are not catechized well. I certainly wasn't. And a lot of us, I just wish there was just a movie about Saint Simon Stock that really presented him to the truest ability. But the reality is nobody's making those movies. And I have to applaud what you two are doing because it's very hard. And and I'm here to, give some words of wisdom and hopefully anyone out there who's interested in making movies like that, feel free to, DM me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you because it is a challenge, but you have to have passion and you have to pick up that cross and you have to, lean on God because it's very, very hard. I don't know if that answered your question, but it's the
Yes.
answer to the question, the source is the Eucharist and the strength you get is spending time with Jesus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are getting kind of close to the end, so I just wanted to invite you one more time to give any comments, any ending comments you wanted to give, and also give us that URL again for where we can get
The tickets.
the red carpet premiere tickets and anything else you'd like to share.
Sure. Yeah, you could join us at our red carpet premiere of Knights of the Cross. All you have to do is go to knightsofthecross.com, click on the buy ticket button, and we look forward to having you there. There's only 300 tickets available, and we started selling we're coming close, but there is still room for folks to join us at our red carpet. It's on May 30th, 2025. It starts at doors open at 6, and we're there till 10. And it's going to be a fun event, and we can't wait to see you there.
Okay.
All
Thank you
right,
so
and
much.
we are talking to Austin Kelly, and he is releasing a new movie about the Crusades. It has St. Simon's Stock in it, and it has a great Catholic hero, Richard the Lionheart, as well. So make sure that you are on keep the lookout out for that film, which is coming out in May, and it is called Knights of the Cross.
See you guys next time.
Bye.